Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to everyone, and many thanks to the organizers of Blue Water Summit for bringing us together. Change is a constant, no more so than in the ocean and along our coastlines. My home is in Fiji, and ever since I was a boy, I've been aware of the changes wrought along the coast by tides and currents, by earthquakes and storms, and by the works of humankind in the shape of coastal infrastructure development. So if change is inevitable, then let us ensure it is change for the better. The ocean's health is currently in decline, and prominent amongst the symptoms of that decline is ocean acidification. It sits alongside accelerating ocean deoxygenation and warming as the worrisome effects of the burgeoning levels of anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions being pumped into the planet's atmosphere. In November this year, the UNFCCC's COP26 will be held in Glasgow, Scotland. The UNFCCC is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and it was within this framework that the famous Paris Agreement was arrived at in 2015. Under the Paris Agreement, the governments of the world agreed to substantially reduce global greenhouse gas emissions. The conference in Glasgow in 5 months' time has been described as the world's last best chance to get runaway climate change under control. Glasgow also presents the best opportunity for the world to move the climate finance needle directly in the direction of strengthening the ocean's contribution to climate change mitigation and adaptation. Moving this finance needle and bringing ocean issues to the center of UNFCCC deliberations will create much greater impetus for countries to include and operationalize ocean-related measures in their climate strategies, including building resilience for coastal ecosystems. On the ocean's behalf, I'd like to emphasize that better safeguarding of coastal and marine health calls for greater efforts to minimize the negative effects of land-based human activities, in particular through source-to-sea discharges and emissions, plastic waste, industrial effluents, excess nutrients from agriculture, fertilizer and pesticide runoffs, and sewage carried to the sea and rivers and drainage systems degrade coastal ecosystems, further compromising the ocean's climate services. Endorsement by us all of the source-to-sea ethos would represent a significant boost for improvements in the ocean climate nexus and the well-being of long-suffering coastal ecosystems. The context of our times has been defined by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in his State of the Planet speech at Columbia University as humanity being at war with nature, of our willfully destroying the life support systems of the planet. We're at the juncture in history where we must make peace with nature, or leave our children and grandchildren to suffer the bitter consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, if we're to avoid setting the world on fire by continuing on our current course, one that takes us to well over 3 degrees Celsius global warming by the end of this century, we have to move to a carbon zero world economy by 2050. Do that, and we'll have a good chance of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees and of leaving those to come with a secure future on this planet. As a loving grandfather, and in the name of intergenerational justice, I urge everyone to do what they can to raise ambitions for COP26 in Glasgow. I wish you well in your discussions today, and I thank you for your kind attention.